Mike Moore Media.
It's a good day at Good Smiles. Dr. Nurica Good is on the line at her dental practice in Mayodan. Hey, Dr. Good, how are you?
Good morning. Good, thank you. How are you, Mike? It's so great to be with you today.
I am always glad to talk to you, Dr. Good, because you're always so positive in a negative world. But I have a feeling that even when things aren't negative, you're always positive. It just seems to come across to me all the time. You're just that kind of person.
Thank you. Thank you. There's an upside to everything.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about flossing today, good oral hygiene and how important that is. But some people do a better job with flossing than others. Why is that so important, Dr. Good?
Flossing, well, first of all, I'm so glad you brought this up. Flossing is super important because your mouth is the gateway to your body. And so if you are doing the best job that you can do in terms of your dental hygiene, including regular flossing, when I say regular, I mean like, you got to be on it. It can't be we have some patients who they like to do it maybe once or twice a week. No, This has to be a daily thing. It's got to be part of your routine. So, but flossing, so there are there's plenty of research regarding your oral health being linked to your heart health, being linked to everything. So, and flossing is such a simple activity. And you can do it driving if you have the floss picks. I think for most people, I really, they say, oh, I just forget. I just don't have time. Well, here, something is better than nothing. I would prefer the traditional floss. However, if you are one of those sort of, I don't have time kind of people, put the floss picks in your car to make it easier for yourself. Mm-hmm. So if anything that you can do to help yourself, then I think you should do it. So even if it's as simple as the floss picks, do that while you're driving. Everyone drives here, so that's a great opportunity to floss. But again, and also regarding healthy habits, once you make it a habit, then you are set for life. And I think a lot of times people, you don't even think about other things too, which is that, let's say for kids who have braces, or maybe you've had braces in the past, and so all your teeth were brought together. Well, that means it's more important for you to floss. So if you had a lot of space at first, and then you had ortho or braces, and then all your teeth are brought together, well, you definitely need to be a flosser, because whatever gets in between your teeth is going to stay there unless you proactively get it out. And the only way to do that is with floss. And floss is an important adjunct to brushing. So I think a lot of times people think, oh, I'm doing fine, I brush my teeth, but that's not enough. So because there's no way that bristles can get in between most people's teeth. So the flossing is an adjunct to get in between, most people's teeth. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great thing to do for yourself, and talk about, being able to reflect on your day. What did I do that was healthy? What did I do that was good for me? And this one thing, it really doesn't take long at all. This one thing will just, it puts you miles ahead in terms of your overall health. And so my personal routine is, so I'll tell you, so of course I brush in the morning, but morning brushing is mostly to help with, bad breath, because hopefully you would have brushed, or you would have flossed and brushed the night before. So you shouldn't really have anything, lingering on your teeth if you've done a good job. Mm-hmm. So my night routine for myself is I floss, then I brush, and that's it for me. Now, some people also want to add in some of the rinses, and the rinses, that's fine as well. However, you want to make sure that there's so many things on the dental aisle. And I think it's easy to get overwhelmed. Here I am a dentist, and I'm like looking at the dental aisle like, what in the world is happening here? Like, why are there so many choices? Yeah. Charcoal and whitening and this and that is just too much. So I think it's very important now, just like we're learning more and more about reading our food labels, you really need to read those labels in the dental aisle. Make sure that it's giving you what you need, and it's not just all, pomp and circumstance. So there are some rinses out there that they literally have no fluoride in them. They are minty water. And so minty water is not really helping you. Yes, that might help with maybe some bad breath, but in terms of your oral health, it's not giving you what you really need. So I would say read your labels, and if you want to add in a rinse, then make sure you're adding in a rinse that is going to do something for you other than just give you nice minty breath.
Wow,
So,
that's some wonderful advice. And I like a key word there you said a little bit back was you got to make it a habit, haven't you? That's just got to be part of the routine.
Yes, yes. And I think it's an easy thing to add, and I stress my patients. And also, by the way, if any of your listeners are going to the dentist, a great way to not have the same conversation about not flossing is to go home and floss. So then the next time you come in, trust and believe that your dental provider, whether it be your hygienist or your dentist, they'll notice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is apparent to us who our flossers are and who is not a flosser.
Oh, sure.
So,
yeah.
And it changes the conversation. So instead of you having, the conversation about, well, you really need to floss, and flossing is good, and blah, 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 floss, 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 then all of a sudden, you know what, you get to have a different conversation.
Yeah. You can tell as soon as you open your mouth, you'll know, won't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, is there a difference in, I think I told you before we started the podcast here, Dr. Good, that my wife is the queen of flossing. I mean, she has always done a great job with that. I can do better, I can tell you that. But and our grandchildren kind of raised up in that whole thing, too, so I'm proud of them. Is there a difference between waxed and the not the wax floss? Does that make a difference?
Yes. So honestly, so if you have waxed floss, then it's a little less sharp than unwaxed floss. So like whenever you pull the floss tight, then so unwaxed floss it is very sharp, and waxed floss is less sharp. And then you have glide or floss tape, and so it really depends on your contacts. So contacts in between your teeth. So some people, their contacts are so tight that they can't get unwaxed floss in there without it ripping to shreds.
Yeah.
So they might need to use a floss tape, or let's say you're someone who has a lot of buildup, but you have some space, then maybe you can use an unwaxed floss. Unwaxed floss is becoming less popular. I don't know why, but that's really the difference. But I think for most people, though, just figure out what works for you, what you can get in and out of your contacts without it getting stuck and hung up and ripped to shreds, and go from there. So
give us, and I think this is we should know this, but for those that are not doing a good job in flossing, and they, I better start doing a better job. Give us the whole procedure with that. How what's the proper way to floss, Dr. Good? I know there is a right way and a wrong way.
Yes. So a lot of times I think people think they're doing a great job if they just pop through that contact, they hear that little pop, and then they think they're done. Well, that's not it. You have to get underneath the gum line. So what we usually say is the C to C. So that's what you want to kind of cup your teeth and get underneath the gum line with your floss. And of course you want to hold it tight. And and if you're new to flossing, then it may bleed some. However, as you continue doing it, your gums will become healthier, and the inflammation that may exist will decrease. And as that happens, then you'll have less and less bleeding. But it's do the C to C, and it's very important to get just underneath your gum line.
Let's talk about if you don't floss. I've heard, you see the TV commercials all the time about periodontal disease and all that. So what are some of the problems if you don't floss?
Right. So a lot of things go into periodontal disease. So it can be hereditary components. It can be hygiene. I mean, it's so many different things that go into periodontal disease. However, regarding flossing, I still think no matter what hygiene category you find yourself in, flossing is I just think it's so easy and so great. Now, not flossing, then first of all, you open yourself up to decay because you're not getting whatever you've eaten or whatever you've had to drink during the day, sugary acids, sodas, food, anything like that. You're not getting it from in between your teeth when you brush. It is still sitting there. So as it sits there, then bacteria, it's like, okay, this is a nice home. And so then you end up with interproximal decay. That's what we call decay in between teeth. So that's one problem. Another problem is, you're right, if you don't floss, then your gums become super inflamed over time, and that inflammation. So what happens is your body is like, something's not right, and so the only thing it knows to do in the mouth is your gum tissue kind of bubbles up, not like bubbles exactly, but it just becomes very red and inflamed and slightly swollen. And then over time, your bone will also, it's like, something is not right. And so then it kind of decreases, and then you have less bony support, less supporting structures around your teeth. So then your teeth might be in, let's say you don't have decay, but then you don't have the support of the bone and the tissue that you need to hold your teeth in place. Mm-hmm. So, and what I'm talking about in terms of the floss as well is not only getting food out, but calculus. Calculus is ions, is food, is bacteria, it's all this bad stuff that adheres to your teeth. And so then it becomes like these spicules on the side of your teeth that, as it hardens, floss is not going to really work to get it off. So you would have to have a trained professional, a dental hygienist or dentist, to come in and literally scrape it off for you, because it adheres so tightly, to try to get you back on the right track. So that's what can happen over time. And when I was talking about the supporting structures, about calculus and food and other things affecting the supporting structures, then at a certain point, if you let it go on too long, then you're in the periodontal disease category, and that's when, people start having mobility. They could have periodontal abscess. I mean, not to scare anyone. However, the progression of not doing a great job on your dental hygiene, it's pretty severe and it's pretty marked. And honestly, those are conversations that that are the hardest to have, are for me to tell somebody, well, yes, you don't have decay, but your teeth are blowing in the wind. So, you're going to lose them due to the periodontal progression. So anyway.
Wow, that's some scary stuff there. Well, our time is getting away, but let me ask you, at what age should a child start flossing?
Oh, I think, honestly, if you can, it's such a battle with kids, but I think the earlier they have the good hand coordination to do it, the better. So, because I think the sooner you start anyone on a habit, then it becomes their lifestyle. And we have patients here who, they talk about it. They're like, yeah, they're, 70, 80 now. My mom told me, as soon as I could learn to floss and brush, then we had to do that. And so I think as soon as someone has the good manual dexterity to do that, they should. However, at least start down the path. However, I will say that most children, you don't gain the best dexterity to floss and brush your own teeth until you are 7. So although I want people to get into the habit, and they should be in the habit of, learning good oral hygiene habits, and seeing a child seeing a parent, an older sibling, doing good oral hygiene, then they will also do it. So that's why I say, as soon as you can, because it's something to acclimate to, but don't expect a child to be able to do it as well until they're 7.
Okay. I'm glad I asked, because I'd never heard an age before on that. Well, our time is up, but wow, you've covered some great material here today, Dr. Good, so I appreciate that. I think we know the importance of flossing at all ages, and I'm motivated now. I'm going to do a better job, so thank you for your help.
Thank you. Oh, Mike, can I just say one more thing? And
sure.
That is, although I just mentioned 7, so what that means for parents or grandparents or whomever your caretaker is that you need to help that child until they're at least 7.
Yeah.
Because you can see their teeth better than they can, and you can do a much more thorough job than they can. So let them brush, but then you be the cleanup person and, really, really get in there and get the job done. I'm sorry, I meant to mention that. So.
Oh, yeah, that's good. No, I'm glad you included that. Okay, well, Dr. Good, time to get to work for you. The office opening soon, and your staff. Thank you for your good information, as always. A pleasure to talk to you. Have a good week.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's always a pleasure to talk with you as well. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye. That's Dr. Nurica Good. Her practice is on South Ayersville Road in Mayodan, 603 South Ayersville Road to be exact. Please check her out on Facebook at Good Smiles. You get all the information there you need. And I'm Mike Moore. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, it's a good day at Good Smiles.